rush me now. I'm making lists, not of the things I own, but of the loves that planted me and how I've bravely grown. There's Mabel who taught me how to fight, and Samuel how to yield. There's the old oak that protected me in the empty, lonesome field. There's a taste of stolen watermelon, warm and sweet and red. There's the words my mama whispered to me, lying in my bed. I'm writing down the colors of 100 different dawns, the way the light caught spider webs after summer storms were gone, the name of every puppy that ever licked my tears, the accumulation of the bliss across the years. It's a long and rambling inventory, Grimmy, can't you see? I'm accounting for my riches, for I come to settle with thee. It's a list of loves, a ledger of the light upon my face, the fingerprint of kindness left in every time and place. I'm counting up the miracles, the ordinary grace, before I leave this body and I vacate this space. So hold your horses, silent one, and let me get this right. I need to say my thank yous to the fading of the light. Oh, precious name is down, I'll fold the paper softly, with no smile and with no frown. I'll place it in my breast pocket, right over this old heart, a map to show I understood my most important part. Then you can take the shell of me, the weary flesh and bone, but the list of loves is coming with me. It's mine alone. It's a list of loves, a ledger of the light upon my face. Sun. Item 2, being done. With regret, I'm not done yet. Checking off my name. Well, sit down at my table, let's play a little game. I can't give you more years, I know that's not the price you trade, but what about some memories that beginning to fade? Take the one about the heartache, the one about the shame. You can have those for a discount, they're burning just the same. Or maybe you'd prefer the way to worries I've outgrown, the fear of being lonely in this big old house alone. I'll wrap them up for nothing. You can take the whole darn load and leave me just the laughter from somewhere down the road. The taste of my first peach, the scent of summer rain, and those are the kind of treasures I am willing to retain. So let's do some bartering, old merchant of the night. I'm trading in my darkness for my leftover light. You can have my bitter verses, every angry sharp refrain, but leave me with the chorus, let the sweet melody remain. The deal is on the table, my final shrewd estate. What do you say, old Grimmy? Do we have ourselves a trade? My vanity to boot, a suitcase full of if onlys. They're sitting there a minute. In exchange, I'll keep the feeling of my grandbaby's small hand and the sight of my old river winding through this promised land. We'll shake on it, no paperwork, a gentleman's accord. You lighten up my spirit and I'll gladly go aboard. So let's do some bartering, old merchant of the night. My sorrows for a song, you can't go wrong. We found her by a dry creek bed, a woman all alone. Her wagon stood a broken thing, a spirit dead and gone. She didn't beg or wail or cry, just stared with ancient eyes at the wide and wicked heaven in those unforgiving skies. Her man was buried back a ways, a simple cross of stone. She said, I'm out of prayers to say, and I'm too tired to moan. My husband said, no room, we're full, our rations running thin. I looked at her, I looked at him, and let the quiet in. Then I moved my children over, made a space upon the sea. Said mercy is a weight we need to make our journey sweet. Her name was Mercy, true enough, she didn't say a word, just climbed aboard and took the reins as if her strength had stirred. And Mercy drove the wagon through the hardest stretch of sand. With a steady hand upon the team, she helped us understand that survival isn't just your own, it's the circle you extend to a broken soul you find along the way, a stranger you befriend. She didn't have a barrel or a sack of grain to give, but she gave us back our kindness, showed us how we ought to live. She left us at a crossroads with a nod and one faint smile. At face again that long and lonesome mile. We never knew where she went, if she made it through or fell. But the lesson of her presence was a living, breathing well. In the desert of our struggle, she was water cool and clear. The day we stopped for mercy and we conquered our own fear. And mercy drove the wagon through the hardest stretch of sand. Sometimes the cargo that saves you is the one you didn't plan. You won't hear me sing no pretty tune, no river deep and wide. You won't hear me sing no pretty tune, no river deep and wide. My melody's the grinding gear, the conveyor's endless ride, the hum of electricity in wires old and bare, the hissing of the pressing steam that thickens up the air. That's my choir, those are my singing sisters, cold and made of wire. They drone the anthem of my days and never, never tire. My feet keep time up on the floor, stained with grease and dust, in this symphony of nothing where metal turns to rust and we turn with it. So don't ask for a sweet refrain. My song is in the clatter, in the echo of the pain. It's the music of the purchase, of the rent and of the bread. A canticle for the half alive and for the walking dead.
Голос затихает, переходя в монотонное гудение, имитирующее заводской шум.
The time clock ticks a lullaby of hours bought and sold. The time clock ticks a lullaby of hours bought and sold. My number's in its metal teeth, my story's there on hold. I punch in with the shadows, I punch out with the dark. The only mark I make on time is this small electric rock of obedience. Sometimes on the late, late shift, when the world outside is sleeping and my spirit starts to drift, I look up at the high-barred window, see the moon so clean and white, and I imagine punching my card right there in her pale and lovely light, punching out forever, leaving this gray concrete cage, turning in my apron for the stars upon life's stage. But the whistle screeches, brings me back, my feet stuck to the floor. I just punched another hour in, and I'll be back for more. Ooh, Saturday night, the boys go out to let the week unwind, to lose themselves in whiskey and leave their cares behind. My ritual's a different one. Beneath the kitchen light, I take the rags and polish, and I make the leather bright. His work boots, scuffed and weary from the field and from the shop, I make them hold a mirror till the tiredness has to stop. It ain't for him, not really, though he'll wear 'em with a shrug. It's for the simple power of the pulling of the tug, of taking something beaten, something caked with mud and tar, and showing it its own face like a tiny distant star. The shine won't last till Monday, it'll dull with the first step, but for one night they perfect lie, a secret that I've kept. 'Cause my rebellion is a clean dress and a pair of shining shoes, a polish on the surface that the inner self can't use, to remember it has value underneath the toil and grit, a core that can't be sullied, not by circumstance one bit. So let 'em go and get their fill of noise and smoky air. I'm here creating order, and I'm putting glory there. And when I set them side by side, a sentinel pair of black, I see the whole week's struggle reflected, and I give it back. A form of benediction, a reclaiming of the ground that says this work is honorable without a single sound. Then I wash the polish from my hands, a different kind of clean, the queen of my own quiet in a world that's seldom seen. 'Cause my rebellion is a clean dress and a pair of shining shoes, a reflected light on a Saturday night. We eat from chipped up plates with forks that have gone bent. The talk is of the weather and where the money went. But in the middle of the table, side the loaf of bread I've made, lies a single linen napkin, meticulously displayed. It's pressed in white and perfect in a ring of faded wood, a symbol of a standard where no standard ever stood. Nobody ever uses it, it's not for wiping hands. It sits there like a landmark in these unforgiving lands. It was my grandmother's treasure from a wedding long ago, a piece of a trail so I will never get to know. But every time I set it down, I hear her whisper, "Child, civility is internal. Keep your manners even while." So my rebellion is a clean dress and a napkin white a statement that the struggle will not make my spirit stain. Amidst the beans and bacon and the weariness and fuss, it says there is a tenderness still dwelling here in us. It's not for show, for company. The company is me, a reminder to my soul of what I choose internally to be. And when the meal is over and the day has taken toll, I pick it up and fold it, saving its unbroken soul. I put it in the drawer, a sacrament of cloth, a tiny daily victory over hardness, over sloth. They think I'm just being fancy or living in the past. They don't know I'm building something beautiful to last. So my rebellion is a clean dress and a napkin white and plain, a square of grace in this time and place. So we left a rocking chair behind, the one my grandpa made, a china dog, a feather bed where childhood dreams were laid. We judged it by the pound, dear, not the memory it held, a brutal practical arithmetic in which our past was quelled. The wagon couldn't bear the weight of sentimental themes, just flour, tools, and children, and the sorrow moving brings. But what we carried wasn't just the barrels and the crate, it was a ghost of Sunday dinner left upon the plate. It was the echo of the screen door slamming in a different wind. The neighbor's wave now vanished, the familiar world thinned down to just this canvas roof and faces drawn in tight, carrying the invisible through day and through the night. Oh, the weight of what we carried wasn't in a wagon bed. It was the future we were chasing and the past we left for dead. It was a fear we couldn't name that sat between us at the fire. The honest, what if we are wrong, that fueled our blind desire. You can measure beans and bacon, you can measure loss or dread. The heaviest thing we carried was a road that lay ahead. And sometimes in the quiet I miss that china dog the most, a stupid painted ornament, a forgotten lightweight ghost. It represented normal, it represented home, before we were just pilgrims, destined evermore to roam. We traded its solid trembling fingers point, and every mile we put behind just wears away the joint. Oh, the weight of what we carry wasn't in the wagon bed. The wheels sink deep in the promises we keep, deep in the memories we shed. You wrote me love notes, sweet and dry, on paper crisp and clean. I try to write you one back, but you know what I mean. The ink just bled and wandered like a flood across the line. My thoughts don't sit in margins, they just overflow and twine. My dictionary's wet and worn, its pages soft as silk. The definition shift with every new layer that's built. Lonely means a hollow knock of a loose branch on a hoe. Home is just a certain scent when the backwater's full. My dictionary's wet and worn from the river's tongue. I know forever is a seal bank where the restless currents go. Tomorrow is a morning fog that clinging to the shore. Betrayal is a sudden drop where the smooth bottom's no more. Yeah, you can keep your Webster's with its words so sharp and neat. My words are damp and heavy, they have currents, they have heat. They're translated from the water and the whisper in the cane. They carry the old hunger and the memory of pain. I don't describe a feeling, I just point to where it grows. Sad as a rain-rotted cabin where the honeysuckle blows. Mad as a hornet's nest knocked loose in the drifting skiff. My similes are anchored in this unpredictable riff of life along the river, where the only constants change and the language has to bend and stretch, be beautiful and strange. My dictionary's wet and worn. Sometimes I think in colors that the town folks never see. The gray of a possum's belly, the black of a cypress knee, the flash and silver promise of a fish that got away, the bruised and purple thunder at the end of a long day. My mind is just a tributary of that great and muddy flow, and the words I have are all the things the rivers taught me to know. So if my love confuses you, if my anger don't make sense, just know it's from a deeper place with a different evidence. My dictionary's wet and worn, I can't speak another way. I'm sorry and I'm not for the things I struggle to say. I'm speaking the river's tongue until my breath is gone. It's the only mother language that I've ever depended on. Wet pages, faded script on my soul, the water's crypt. You came from Memphis City with your dictionary words, your sentences all polished like the song of city birds. You say exquisite darling and you talk of future tense. But my vocabulary started making its own sense. Down by the muddy water, where the willows dip and weep, I learned a conversation that is slow and dark and deep. I don't talk like the town girls do, with their chatter light and neat. My tongue is the river's tongue, honey, sluggish, bittersweet. I don't say storms are coming, my left knee begins to whine. My goodbye is a rusted hinge on a rotted riverside pine. Yeah, you speak in pretty nothings, but my words have root and mud, and a silence that means more than any crowded neighborhood. So listen to the water if you wanna know my mind, 'cause the river's tongue is the only kind I'm speaking now. You'll find you compliment my languid eyes, my mystery, my grace. You're reading from a romance book, you're looking at the wrong place. My eyes just read the water lines on a cypress sunken trunk. My mystery is knowing where the riverbank has sunk, and my grace is just the patience of the heron in the reeds. A different kind of language, born of different kinds of needs. I don't talk like the town girls do. My mama's lullaby was the bullfrog's midnight choir. My alphabet, the insect tracks in the cool, forgetful mire. So when I curse you, darling, don't expect a common phrase. It'll be poison ivy, climb your heart for all your lying days. Or may the water hemlock find the spring you call your soul. My anger's from the riverbank, and it takes a heavy toll. So save your fancy paragraphs, your letters and your prose. My love letter's a catfish stirring mud up with its nose. My poetry's the eddy where the dead leaves make a spin. You'll never understand a single place that I have been, 'cause I talk the river's tongue, and your city deaf and blind to the slow old conversation going on in my mind. It says, rise up. It says, fall. It don't say nothing. It says it all.
Медленные души раздирающий блюз с мощным вокалом и струнной секцией. There's a thread that doesn't match. There's a thread that doesn't match. A color harsh and bold, a story that was never meant within this frame be told. It's me, I am the discord, I'm the note that's sung too flat. I'm the memory of a struggle that the picture smoothed out pad. I don't blend in the background of church socials and tea. I'm the hint of a wild river where they want a placid sea. I'm a thread that doesn't match. I spoil the perfect view, cut from the wrong cloth in a different darker hue. They try to weave around me, try to hide me in the seam, but I catch the light all sideways and I trouble every dream. Of a seamless, quiet pattern of a life that's neat and sure. I'm the fraying, raw reminder that some hearts must endure. A rougher kind of weaving from a much more tangled skein. A thread that doesn't match and always causes pain. My love was too demanding, not a gentle pastel shade. It was crimson like a warning in the choices that I made. My grief was not a muted gray, it was a black so deep and wide. It threatened to unravel all the fabric from inside. So they snapped me loose or tried to left me dangling in the air. A single strange inclusion that they didn't want to bear. Now I hang here on the outskirts of their finished pretty scene, a testament to something raw and honest and unclean. I'm a thread that doesn't match. I'm a thread that doesn't match. Perhaps I'm from a different quilt, one made for colder nights, for hands that aren't afraid of pools or unanticipated lights. A blanket for a warrior or a shroud for one who's real. Not this decorative tableau that's forgotten how to feel. So I'll gather my own tension, I'll spin my own design. A fabric made of shadow and of stubbornness and spine. And if I never find my cloth, my pattern or my place, at least I'll be a truth that time cannot erase. I'm a thread that doesn't match. I'm a thread that doesn't match. The unforgiving tester in the palm of society's hand. I was cut from the wrong cloth by a cutter unkind, but I am the real thing that the pattern left behind. So gaze upon your perfect world and smile and drink your wine, and I'll be here, the lonely thread in this tapestry of time, the one that doesn't match and never will line. Just one thread, alone in a pattern not my own. You got your saint who finds your keys, your saint who guards your child. My saints are less domestic and their methods are more wild. I don't need help with losing things or keeping something near. My specialty is disappearance, and my favorite saint is clear. It's the ghost train at the crossing with his whistle sharp and long, the holiest of harbingers that something's going wrong or right, depends on perspective. He's the saint of second thoughts, of packed bags in the hallway, and of battles never fought. He's the blessing of the exit, the amen to my due, the only spirit who approves of breaking. St. Willow, weeping blue. They don't pray for reconciliation, for a happy mended start. They preside over the surgery of breaking a heart, or having it be broken. They're the gods of clean cut ends, the only deities who ever proved to be my friends. Yeah, the patron saints of leaving in my personal cathedral of pain, the ones who help me gather up the shards and leave again. Saint Copper Snake, he doesn't love, he knows that is his gift. The gift of seeing clearly through the sentimental rift. He whispers when it's poison, when the well is running dry. He's the saint of cold hard logic with a bright unblinking eye. And when the knowing turns to waking and the logic turns to tears, St. Willow takes me in her arms and soothes away the fears. She's the saint of what comes after, of the bend and not the break, the tender green companion for the poor decisions that I make. Hail the patron saints of leaving. Some people have a guardian angel, soft and winged and fair. I've got a pantheon of shadows always with me everywhere. They don't promise me a mansion on some bright and distant shore. They just help me walk the bloody footprints right out of the door, and down the track and through the swamp and under the tree. They are the only family that ever stood by me in my endless private exodus from places I called home. A nomadic congregation in the night where I roam. So bless the patron saints of leaving, pour them out a shot of gin. They've seen me in and out of doors and out and in again. Sang ghost train, sang copper snake, sang willow, bow your head. Another chapter's closing, another love is dead, and we move on, my panther and me, a sacred motley crew, believing only in the things that we are, so this can do, with a little help from saints who understand the goodbye. All aboard for the saints of the sword and the loose train board. They speak of halos golden bright and miracles of old. My miracles are quieter and often bitter cold. The miracle of waking up and facing one more day. The miracle of keeping all the ugly words at bay. I don't have cherubs hovering or visions bright and grand. I've got a council of the lost here in this sinking land, a pantheon of weathered things that time has left behind. The only holy comfort that this weary soul can find. My saints are made of rust and riverbank, you see. They're as flawed and as forgotten as a girl like me.
Saint goes train of the departure with his mournful silver song. Saint Copper Snake of wisdom telling right from wrong. And Saint Willow of the weeping with her arms so soft and green. The only holy trinity that I have ever seen. Yeah, my saints are Rust and Riverbank. They don't demand a fee, just honesty and maybe a cup of coffee with me. I light no votive candles, I just watch the fireflies dancing like lost spirits neath the deep indigo skies. My confessional's the back porch where the moonlight tells my sins to the katydids and crickets as the cool night breeze begins. And I feel the copper snake stir in the pocket of my mind, whispering you knew the outcome, love, you weren't ever blind. And the willow sighs a comfort from the darkness by the stream, while the ghost train's faint vibration is the fabric of my dream. My saints are made of rust and riverbank. Sometimes I think I made them up to keep from going mad, to give a shape and name to all the good luck and the bad. But it don't matter if they're real in any Bible sense. They're real to me, they're my defense against the empty nothing of a world that don't explain the reason for the sunshine or the reason for the rain. My personal mythology, my anchor and my spark, my light inside the terrapin for a world really mad. So I'll keep my saints of rust, I'll keep my saints of mud. I'll pray to them in whispers when the pain is like a flood. They won't calm the waters, but they'll teach me how to swim in the current of a life that's often brutal, often grim. My saints are Rust and Riverbank, my strange and loyal band, the guardians of a woman in a strange and lonely land. Rust, mud, and holy flood. Amen. They're playing Cole Porter, dancing cheek to cheek so fine, in a whirl of champagne satin that was never meant for mine. I'm standing by the punch bowl in my gingham, checkered blue, a simple sturdy cotton thought in a dizzy velvet zoo. My dress is for the farmhouse, for the morning milk and eggs, not for whispered compliments and gentlemen who beg. For a dance with someone dainty, not a girl whose hands are rough from hanging out the laundry and other country stuff. I'm jingle in a satin world, square peg, don't you see, cut from the wrong cloth for this high society. They talk of Paris fashions, I talk of rainfall and of crows, where they see a fine impression. My honest stubbornness just shows. Yeah, jingle in a satin world, I stick out like a weed, a practical and honest thing for a glamorous, flashy breed. So pardon if I stumble through this polished, slick routine. My roots are in the pasture, in a dress of calico and lean. I tried to starch and press myself to make the corners sharp, to mimic their vague mystery, to play the precious harp. But my laugh broke through the phonograph, my walk had too much stride. I was a workhorse on parade, with nowhere left to hide. The satin girls, they pity me with sweet and condescending smiles, while I'm calculating acreage and counting up the miles between their world of artifice and where I truly live, a place where I have something real and positive to give. I'm jingle in a satin world. But sometimes late at night, when all their mascara runs and the phonograph needle skips on empty loveless ones, they look at me, this gingham girl who knows a solid thing, who isn't terrified of what the next new season'll bring. And for a flash I see a envy in their tired painted eyes, for the simple sturdy fabric neath the fancy darkening skies. But the moment passes quickly and the music starts anew, and I'm the odd one out again in my dependable blue. So let them have their shouting, let them have their Paris nights. I'm jingle through and through, and I'm turning out the lights on this charade. I'm going home to where the cloth makes sense, to a world of need and nurturing, not subtle pretense. I'm jingle, baby, sturdy, washable and true, and this satin world can keep its shiny, lonely view. I was cut from the wrong cloth for you. Checkered and plain in the sun and the rain, the right cloth after all, just not for this ball. Schoolhouse tried to teach me words, all boxed and squared and right, but the letters wouldn't stick to me, they vanished in the night. They didn't have the cadence of the current on the stones, or the groan of a old oak when the wind picks up his moans. My teacher wore a cotton dress and pointed at the board, but my real teacher was the river, and it never seemed bored. It whispered through my sleeping ear, it sang into my blood, a language understood by catfish, cottonmouth and mud. Yeah, the river taught my mouth to shape the sound, where your love is just one syllable, my love is slow and drowned. It's the space between the crickets when the owl begins its sweep. It's the promise of a flood time when the water's running deep. The river taught my mouth my yes is like a rising tide, my no is like a bank that's worn too thin to hold inside. So don't ask for pretty speeches, don't demand a clear reply. The truth is in the undertow beneath the clouded sky. I feel the fever in the air before the weatherman weeks of rain by end of day. You call it superstition, you might call it a lie, but the river talks in pressures to the earth and to the sky. And I'm its best translator, I'm its vessel and its scribe, telling fortunes in the aches that travel through my tribe. Yeah, the river taught my mouth to shape a sound. And when you crossed me, baby, left me standing in the cold, my curse wasn't devil take you, a story too oft told. I whispered snake root in your gravy, belladonna in your tea, words that grow in shadow where the river bends by me. My wrath is botanical, it's rooted in the swamp, a quiet green intention that your city mind can't stomp. So I don't need your grammar, don't need your syntax rules. I'm fluent in the dialect of alligators and of pools. The river told my mouth and it's the only tongue I trust. It's honest in its violence and it's tender in its rust. So listen to the water or get gone from where I stand. I speak the mother language of this slow sinking land, shaping the sound on the low wet ground. The river's tongue. You sang me pretty melodies from some Broadway stage, but they couldn't calm the tempest, they couldn't soothe the rage that comes from knowing darkness like the backwater knows night, from seeing things move sideways just outside the firelight. My comfort ain't a sonnet, my peace ain't a rhyme. I got a backwater lullaby sung in swamp thick time. It's the chorus of the frogs when the last lights bled away. It's the creak of an old boat at the end of a long day. I got a backwater lullaby, honey, in the river's tongue. It ain't a song you whistled when your days were young. It's the buzz of a mosquito, the plop of a sinking log, the hiss of a slow leak in a rain-soaked bog. It says, hush now, child, the world is mean and wide, but the mud will hold you close here on the silty underside. Yeah, my lullaby's a whisper from the roots beneath the tree, and it's the only melody that ever comforted me. My swear words ain't for shocking, they're for planting like sea. May a patch of poison oak grow from every selfish deed. May your path be crossed by wolf's bane, where you think the walking's clear. Mayan souls come from riverbank, they're rooted deep in fear and respect for things that bite and sting and twist and burn, a different kind of wisdom that a city fool can't learn. Backwater lullaby. When my soul gets restless and my mind just won't be still, I don't need no preacher standing on a dusty hill. I go down to the river, let the water lick my feet, and the language of the current makes the chaos feel complete. It don't preach no salvation, it don't promise paradise, it just says I'm older, I'm deeper, I'm the rolling of the dice, and that's enough. That's my theology, my creed, written in the water weave. So let the world sing opera, let it play a symphony. My soul's tuned to a different key. I got a backwater lullaby, it's in my blood and breed. Vibrato song that mocks the polished, pretty fear of death. It's the river's tongue, it's ancient and it's raw and it is true, and it's the only song I'll ever sing for you or for me. Lullaby of the murk and mire. Lullaby of the deep desire, sung in the river's tongue of water and of fire. You go on Sunday morning where the stained glass paints the light. You pray to saints in plaster who are shining clean and white. But my knees have never touched a pew of polished factory oak. My soul answers to older tongues, a different kind of folk. I don't need a priest, investments to interpret my despair. My gods are in the whisper of the midnight swampy air. My cathedral has no steeple, it's the bend where the river runs deep. My choir is the whistle of the promises I couldn't keep. I don't pray to Peter at no pearl and golden gate. I kneel down at the altar of what's destined and what's fate. Yeah, my cathedral has no steeple, but it's holy in its gloom. It's the sacred shadowed sanctuary of this long and lonely room of my heart. You light a candle for your soul, a tiny hopeful flame. I leave an offering of rust take a different name. Not Mary or Saint Christopher, who guards you on your road. My guardian's the copper snake, who shares my secret load of wisdom that can poison, of a truth that has a sting, the kind of knowing that don't help with any earthly thing. But it's real, it's in the bloodstream. It's a cold and ancient God that lives beneath the floorboards in the fertile blackened sod. My cathedral has no steeple. When I need forgiveness for the love I had to kill, I don't seek no absolution from a man upon a hill. I go down to the weeping willow, let her tendrils brush my face. She understands the weight of tears, the sorrow and the grace of bending but not breaking, in the flood and in the drought. She's the goddess of resilience, there is never any doubt. She's my saint of salty rivers and of memories that last, a greener, softer savior from a far more gentle past. So you can have your heaven with its harps and its decree. I've got a ghost train coming, that's a calling just for me. It don't promise no salvation, just a journey through the night, a symbol of the leaving and the fading of the light. My cathedral has no steeple, but it reaches just as high into the dark and white of my personal sky, with my own panting to guide me till I lay my burden down, my own pantheon in this delta call. For the snake, the tree, hear the train in the rain, my private prayer in the thick night air. You wrote me love notes, sweet and dry, on paper crisp and clean. I tried to write you one back, but you know what I mean. The ink just bled and wandered like a flood across the line. My thoughts don't sit in margins, they just overflow and twine. My dictionary's wet and worn, its pages soft as silk. The definitions shift with every new layer that's built. Lonely means the hollow knock of a loose branch on a hole. Home is just a certain scent when the backwater's full. My dictionary's wet and worn from the river's tongue, I know. Forever is a silk bank where the restless currents go. Tomorrow is a morning fog that clinging to the shore. Betrayal is a sudden drop where the smooth bottom's no more. Yeah, you can keep your Webster's with his words so sharp and neat. My words are damp and heavy, they have currents, they have heat. They're translated from the water and the whisper in the cane. They carry the old hunger as a hornet's nest, knocked loose into the drifting skiff. My similes are anchored in this unpredictable riff of a life along the river, where the only constants change, and the language has to bend and stretch, be beautiful and strange. My dictionary's wet and warm. Sometimes I think in colors that the town folks never see. The gray of a possum's belly, the black of a cypress knee, the flashing silver promise of a fish that got away, the bruised and purple thunder at the end of a long day. My mind is just a tributary of that great and muddy flow, and the words I have are all the things the rivers taught me to know. So if my love confuses you, if my anger don't make sense, just know it's from a deeper place with a different evidence. My dictionary's wet and worn, I can't speak another way. I'm sorry and I'm not for the things I struggle to say. I'm speaking the river's tongue until my breath is gone. It's the only mother language that I've ever depended on. Wet pages, faded script on my soul, the waters crip. They offer me their ribbons, their delicate perfume. They live in rooms of crystal, chasing away the gloom. They speak in easy platitudes, in verses sweet and kind, but they never understand the workings of this homespun heart of mine. It's stitched with threads of resilience, patched with scraps of pride. It's colored with the mud of roads where I have walked and cried. It ain't a fancy valentine, all lacy and refined. It's a working, beaten, sturdy thing, this homespun heart of mine. This homespun heart of mine wasn't cut from their fine cloth. It wasn't shaped for gentle hands or soothed by easy troth. It's made for early rising and for bearing up the load, for walking down the loneliest and roughest of the road. Yeah, it's homespun and it's humble, and it often feels alone in a world of store-bought sentiments and voices on the phone. But it's honest in its fiber, in its every tear and mend. This homespun heart of mine will be true until the end. Sometimes I wish it fit me in the way their silks fit them, without a constant chafing at the sentimental hem. To feel a part of circles feels to belong without a fight, to walk into a room and feel the atmosphere just right. But this heart of mine's a rebel, it's a pioneer, you see. It was woven on a different loom for someone just like me, for someone who finds beauty in the raw and undesigned. So I'll learn to wear this homespun heart and leave their cloth behind. This homespun heart of mine. Maybe on a distant shore where the other misfits meet, where the cloth is rough and beautiful and bitter turns to sweet, I'll find a soul who recognizes in this coarse and simple line the priceless perfect pattern of this homespun heart of mine. Until that day I'll hold it close, this gift, this cross, this art, this stubborn, sacred, aching homespun heart. So let the world wear satin, let the world wear lace. I wear this homespun heart right here upon my face, for all to see the texture of my truth, my fall, my climb, the glorious, unfashionable grace of this homespun heart of mine. I was cut from the wrong cloth for their fading, fickle tint, but I was cut exactly right to be my own best friend. This homespun heart is mine. Homespun and real. The only fabric I can feel. You got your cross around your neck, a symbol thin and fine. I got a copper snake that coils around this heart of mine. It don't bring peace, it brings the truth, a bitter sharp delight. It sees the venom in the world and doesn't turn from night. You pray for angels, gentle wings to carry you above. I make my peace with darker things, I offer different love to spirits of the here and now, to what I touch and feel. Not stories in a dusty book, but something raw and real. Yeah, I bow to different idols in a temple without walls. When the evening shadows lengthen and the lonely nightfall calls, I don't say holy, holy, no. No, I whisper other names to gods of dirt and consequence, to everlasting flames. I bow to the ghost train's echo fading down the rusted track, to the willow's deep reflection in the water blue and black, to the snake's old silent knowledge of the poison and the cure. My faith is less than certain, but I know that it's pure, my own kind of pure. When sorrow comes a knocking like a cold and steady rain, I don't look up to heaven for to take away the pain. I go Somewhere beneath this tangled teardrop leaves, I feel less like I'll die. Yeah, I bought a different idols, and when I need the courage just to pack my bags and flee, to be the one who does the leaving and to finally be free, I call upon the ghost train, hear its lonesome distant scream. It's the patron saint of exit, of the unfulfilled dream. It don't judge me for my running, it just offers up the track, a silver path through darkness with no turning ever back. It's the holiest of spirits to a restless roaming soul, the only God who offers me a never-ending goal. The train, they'll catch me when I fall, with a wisdom that's more ancient than their brand new shinny church. Leave me to my pantheon and search your own damn search. Bowing low to what I know, my own pantheon's glow. Rush me now, I'm making lists, not of the things I own, but of the loves that planted me and how I've bravely grown. There's Mabel who taught me how to fight, and Samuel how to yield. There's the old oak that protected me in the empty, lonesome field. There's a taste of stolen watermelon, warm and sweet and red. There's the words my mama whispered to me, lying in my bed. I'm writing down the colors of 100 different dawns, the way the light caught spider webs after summer storms were gone. The name of every puppy that ever licked my tears, the accumulation of the bliss across the years. It's a long and rambling inventory, Grimmy, can't you see? I'm accounting for my riches, for I come to settle with thee. It's a list of loves, a ledger of the light upon my face, the fingerprint of kindness left in every time and place. I'm counting up the miracles, the ordinary grace, before I leave this body and I vacate this space. So hold your horses, silent one, and let me get this right. I need to say my thank yous to the fading of the light. Oh, precious name is down. I'll fold the paper softly, with no smile and with no frown. I'll place it in my breast pocket, right over this old heart. A map to show I understood my most important part. Then you can take the shell of me, the weary flesh and bone, but the list of loves is coming with me, and it's mine alone. It's a list of loves, a ledger of the light upon my face. Item 1. The sun. Item 2. Being done. With regret, I'm not done yet.
We found her by a dry creek bed, a woman all alone. Her wagon stood a broken thing, a spirit dead and gone. She didn't beg or wail or cry, just stared with ancient eyes at the wide and wicked heaven in those unforgiving skies. Her man was buried back a ways, a simple cross of stone. She said, I'm out of prayers to say, and I'm too tired to moan. My husband said, no room, we're full, our rations running thin. I looked at her, I looked at him, and let the quiet in. Then I moved my children over, made a space upon the sea. Said mercy is a weight we need to make our journey sweet. Her name was Mercy, true enough, she didn't say a word, just climbed aboard and took the reins as if her strength had stirred. And Mercy drove the wagon through the hardest stretch of sand. With a steady hand upon the team, she helped us understand that survival isn't just your own, it's the circle you extend to a broken soul you find along the way, a stranger you befriend. She didn't have a barrel or a sack of grain to give, but she gave us back our kindness, showed us how we ought to live. She left us at a crossroads with a nod and one faint smile, had found a will to face again that long and lonesome mile. We never knew where she went, if she made it through or fell, but the lesson of her presence was a living, breathing well. In the desert of our struggle, she was water cool and clear. The day we stopped for mercy and we conquered our own fear. And Mercy drove the wagon through the hardest stretch of sand. Sometimes the cargo that saves you is the one you didn't plan.
Saturday night, the boys go out to let the week unwind, to lose themselves in whiskey and leave their cares behind. My ritual's a different one. Beneath the kitchen light, I take the rags and polish, and I make the leather bright. His work boots, scuffed and weary, from the field and from the shop. I make them hold a mirror till the tiredness has to stop. It ain't for him, not really, though he'll wear 'em with a shrug. It's for the simple power of the pulling of the tub, of taking something beaten, something caked with mud and tar, and showing it its own face like a tiny distant star. The shine won't last till Monday, it'll dull with the first step. But for one night, they perfect lie, a secret that I've kept. 'Cause my rebellion is a clean dress and a pair of shining shoes, a polish on the surface that the inner self can't use, to remember it has value underneath the toil and grit, a core that can't be sullied, not by circumstance one bit. So let 'em go and get their fill of noise and smoky air. I'm here creating order, and I'm putting glory there. And when I set them side by side, a sentinel pair of black, I see the whole week's struggle reflected, and I give it back. A form of benediction, a reclaiming of the ground, that says this work is honorable without a single sound. Then I wash the polish from my hands, a different kind of clean, the queen of my own quiet in a world that's seldom seen. 'Cause my rebellion is a clean dress and a pair of shining shoes, a reflected light on a Saturday night.